Kira is late?
Are you shaking your head at me for being late? Rob, I'm sorry. And I'm not on Do Not Disturb.
Your phone is on. You have like men and women of all ages over at your apartment. I can hear a party in the background. Someone's having a bat mitzvah.
Well, you know me.
Where's the respect?
Well, here's what happened.
Okay.
Here's what happened. What happened was that...
Everyone skip ahead 6 minutes if you don't want to hear Kira's excuse for being late.
Or why I'm late. Here's... No, no. I'm not even going to try.
No,
it's
what
just
do you got?
For the viewer, just
Right.
For context, I messaged Rob earlier today and was like, hey, let's meet earlier. I want to do this sooner than the time that we said we were going to do it.
Yeah.
And then I was late to the time originally is what happened here. So,
yes.
So now I'm like actually technically 45 minutes late, not 3 minutes. Well, 2 minutes.
I love where your brain is at, because that's absolutely right. And I feel like what really happened is you were like, you know what gets me like in the right headspace for like a chat, like a catch up, is if the other person is there for 40 minutes by themselves, just gaining anticipation and getting excited about Kira.
Well, that's true.
Okay.
That's
I'm going to
true.
spit out my gum.
You know what
for
else
you.
thank you. That's nice. I also just realized that I didn't plug in my mic.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Hey, I'm learning. Also, actually, a serious question. Am I supposed to talk into this side or this side?
This side that says blue on it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're talking to that one. And make sure you go into Zoom and switch it. Otherwise, having it plugged in won't do anything.
I know that.
Okay.
Well, I was trying to do that, and then I realized it wasn't plugged in because I'm good at it. So, hold on.
But you're very talented. That's why you're here.
Probably holding.
Thanks. Do you not let anyone untalented on your show?
That's right.
Sure. I'm just kidding. That's actually true.
No, that's fundamentally true. There are people who ask.
You sound. So something just shifted. You sound like so podcasty now in my ears. I don't know why that is, but I like it. Has any serious question? You don't have to say their names. Has anyone ever asked you to be on the show? And you were like, ooh.
Oh, that they asked, and I was like, people ask all the time.
No, I wasn't like, has anyone ever wanted to do this?
Yeah, a couple times. No, I would say it's like it's like 85-15. Like 15% of people ask me to like, hey, can I do the show? Or like, I like the show. We should talk sometime. And I'm totally open to that. I tell people all the time, like, go ahead and ask me. Because I'm just going through my friends list until other people become available, like strangers and vagrants. Strangers. There's a lot of those.
So busy.
But has anybody ever asked me and I was like, oh God, I don't want to talk to you? No.
Yeah.
That has not happened yet.
Well, that's
I'm looking forward to it because then I'll know I've gotten through a lot of the people.
You're like, I've talked to everyone.
I've talked to everybody. I've gotten all the way to the scumbags.
Oof. Well, I mean, here's to ya, future scumbag.
Yeah, right.
Of America.
Who are there any people that you know I don't like that you want to be on the show?
I don't think I know anyone.
I assume that's where it's coming from. Like, there's someone you know that I don't like.
No.
And you want to hear me talk to them.
No, I think I'm interested in that conversation and what that would be like.
Like the one where I tell them no, or the one where I go, all right, come on the fucking show, you scumbag. Let me tell you in front of everybody what I was
thinking about the first one. And now that you say that, I'm thinking that actually you would not actually say no. You would have them on and then the world would agree with you suddenly because they would hear.
I hope so. I hope I'd win. I might end up looking like the asshole. It's totally possible. It happens all the
I
time
guess
to me.
it is. Oh no, don't say that.
Oh,
I think it
sure.
happens a lot to everyone.
You're so
Because
sweet. That's such like a kind
I'm
of
serious.
maternal answer to give. Like, we all have pain,
Actually,
honey.
I do have news. I know you all
Oh,
wanted to
great.
know why I came on the show.
Right.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm not pregnant. I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
My mother's
That was
going to watch
such a
this and be like,
letdown.
what is happening?
I'm just glad your mom's
No,
going to watch
just
it. What's
kidding.
up?
Oh, she's going to watch it.
So welcome to the show. Thank you for doing At the Elephants. Finally, I've
I'm so
wanted to
excited.
have you on forever. We did. It's weird because you haven't ever been on this show, but you have had involvement in more episodes than most people because
Mhm.
you helped me put together the whole Bent series that we did right before the world exploded.
Yeah, right before, which is crazy.
Several of those people, I think several of those people, is that true? At least two. I've talked to Michael and I talked to Emma this fall. So Michael's episode's already out, and I think Emma's will be out before yours. So those are available. But I told you then, I said, okay, well, and we were scheduling everybody, and I was like, and you were like, no. And I was like, but you're making all this, it's already at your apartment. Like we just get you? It'd be easy to just play. And you're like, maybe later, maybe at another time. Do you remember telling me that?
I do, clearly.
Do you remember why?
Well, yes.
Go ahead.
I do.
Because I don't know the answer to this.
Oh, great. Well, I've already, okay. I was like busy and also didn't want to like steal the shine from the people who were doing this show. And was like, well, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. The context is, for those that don't know, me and some classmates from School of the Arts, Emma Coulter, who you just mentioned being one of them, and Michael Calciano, produced Bent by Martin Sherman in 2020, and still got it. And I was producing and heading up marketing. And so one of the things that we did, which, by the way, I was thinking about this as I was, just kind of percolating on chatting with you, was how generous you were to do that. I mean, truly, you not only agreed to let several members of the same company on your show. So that's like your time personally, your time to have long conversations with people like multiple times a week, which I know you do, but it was a lot. And you also like produced it and shouted us out, and you freaking donated, and you were so helpful to me. And I don't know, I was just thinking about that recently because you didn't have to do that and you did. So thank you again.
Well, it's my pleasure, 100%. I'm not letting you off the hook on answering my question.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But I will say, in that context, the reason why I did that, and I think this is an important thing too, if this new launching of the show keeps going for a while, I don't want people to think that like part of the purpose of At the Elephants was ever before, during, or after any of this to like be an advertising vehicle or a marketing thing. It wasn't like I started At the Elephants so that like I could also plug everybody's shows and stuff like that. I've done it from time to time, especially when it was really early on the show. I thought maybe it was going to be the kind of thing where it was almost like a news show about NCSA related alumni shit. And then eventually I was like, I don't think I want to keep up with all that enough to make that my job. But the reason why I did Bent was because there were just too many things involved in that production coming together that I thought was like, man, this is an At the Elephants show, because it's not happening at school. It's not happening at School of the Arts. It didn't happen in North Carolina. And there are plenty of productions that happen that are loaded with NCSA alumni on all sides of it. So that wasn't just it. But there were a few things happening all at once that I was like, this is a really good opportunity for everybody, including me. So I was a little selfish in it too, which is
Good.
I wanted to start doing some version of this show that had video to it. And I'd never done that before, except for like 2 things. It had never, I shot an episode with Lee Wallenhot from the music school.
Yep.
And I was in Austin, so I had a lot of time on my hands in my podcasting studio. I was building down there at the time.
Right.
So that was all coming together. And then it was like, there were like 5 cast members from School of the Arts in this show, which I had seen the original one in on campus. That was, you know, a lot of pieces of that were coming back together to do the one in Brooklyn. And Emma's dad, Steve, was in the company. And to me, it was like, okay, this is like all too many things. Like, it's not just like some alumni are doing a play. That happens all the time. But also like one of the alums' dads, who's also an alumni, is in the show. It's a show they did on campus that they're doing again now in New York. And I needed content. I was trying to, make stuff. So it was very mutually beneficial. It wasn't, I appreciate you like giving me credit for generosity, but it wasn't just because I was like, I'm gonna help these kids out.
No, I know.
It was a little bit of that.
I take it back. Never mind.
Thank you. But it was mostly, why I say all that to say that I want to, I want to extend the same gratitude in your direction, because it was really, really helpful. And I have never had any help making this show before. Like, you weren't just, putting a mic in front of people. You were helping me with scheduling, and we were making sure all the files got downloaded and stuff. And it was a whole process. You worked really hard on that.
Fun. That was so fun. I was
awesome
like, oh yeah,
have you.
That was exciting.
So why didn't you do it?
Right. Well, it's funny. I almost thought you were about to gotcha me with this, because I was thinking about it today. I actually very specifically remember one of our conversations, because you and you remember this, we would I would have the actors or whoever was like doing the podcast to my apartment, because I had the setup, and I would link them with you. And then I would go to my bedroom and hide and work and hear them kind of, and try to be quiet and not laugh when I heard you guys being funny. And then when you guys were done, I would come back out and be like, all right, great. Goodbye. And then you and I would talk for an hour, totally by accident. We just be like, yeah. So I got to go do this. And then an hour later, we're
we would just not record essentially all these bonus episodes of the show.
It's I kind of have done the show. Just no one knows but you and me. You and me, baby.
That sounds a little bit more.
It was a very normal conversation, just to be clear. Just to be clear.
It was very professional.
But no, I specifically remember you being like, you should do it, you should do it, you should do it. And I said, no, I want to come on At the Elephants when I'm not doing marketing, when I'm not just a producer. I want to come on when I'm acting in something, or when I'm doing something. And you were like, okay, I feel okay.
Yeah.
And it's just funny because I feel what a mindset. I think that's funny. I think that's funny. Yeah, I think that's funny.
So
because I
mean, people who listen to this show all the time are not hearing a brand new theme here, which is your desire to communicate with the outside world that is your peers and people closely related to them is very closely tied to what you're working on artistically. And there is an idea of wanting to control, a little bit of how people see you. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. And to say, I mean, the first episode I did of this new season was with Joshua Morgan, and it was he's the best. And it was one of the main themes of our conversation, which is Joshua does so many other things. I mean, this has come up already 8 times this new season. Charles Osborne said the same shit. Everybody's I do all these different things, but I really struggle to be seen the way I want to be seen, is what it all barrels down to, which is like, as much as Joshua does artist strategy, it's really important to him that people still are aware that he is a professional actor. And even though Charles has like gotten this big social media kind of comedy following, it's really important to him that people are also aware that he like writes plays and like produces his own stuff that
incredible musicals.
That. Yeah, exactly. So it makes sense, but the thing I tell everybody, and I'll say the same thing to you, is you talk to me whenever you want it. And if it helps you feel a certain way about how everybody perceives it when they finally hear it, that's fine with me, whatever makes you the most comfortable. But know that to me, the person you're talking to in this conversation, I don't give a shit when you work on what. Like, you're the same person to me. Like, you're an actor and you're a really good producer. You did a great job with that stuff we did together that wasn't acting. And I didn't really know you could do that before we did that before. But while I was doing that with you, I wasn't in my head like, it's cool that Kira's abandoned acting as a thing for the rest of her life, and now she's a professional marketer. Like,
that's me, guys. You're a professional marketer.
I can think of two things at one time, and you're a lot of things, and that's okay.
Yeah, totally. And I think, it's just funny. And and I'm like,
do you think
that was
about
an incredible
that a lot?
Experience. Yeah. And I think
about like how people are seeing you do what you do and how they put you in a box one way or another.
Oh, well, actually, if anything, I feel like I don't know how people see me or what boxes they might put me in. And I feel I'm like kind of working on that right now of like, what is my branding? And like, I don't really know. Cause I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to like deep dive into like what I'm like doing in my daily life right now, cause that's weird and boring. But like,
you can tell me about it if it's relevant to what we're talking about.
Okay. So I mean, that is what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to figure out, like, when I walk in a room or send in a tape, I feel it's not, I think what I heard was that I'm worried that people see me the way that I'm not, or they don't see me the way I want to be seen, or that I'm in this box and I can't break out. And I feel like I'm like, does anyone see a box? Like, does anybody have an idea of like what is happening? Cause I feel like there's a lot going on, which is good, but it could be it's hard to deepen or sharpen what is nebulous.
Sure.
And yeah. So I feel like it's interesting that you say that, because I don't feel like pigeonholed in any way.
Well, I think what I meant was less that you're worried about a very specific idea, and more that there is awareness and concern for that whole situation, which is what you're saying. So not putting you in the box of like, oh, they think I'm this and I don't want them to think that. It's like, no, not necessarily. But the fact that you didn't want to do At the Elephants when you were marketing, but you do want to do it when you're an actor, means that you, Kira, are like, there is something going on to how people are seeing me out there on the internet and in their lives and talking about me. I want it. I don't know what it means. I don't know how to get to where I want to go. I don't even know where I want to go, but I do want to have some control. I do want to be able to go, I'm going to press this button and not that button.
Ooh, yeah. 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 I love control. Control is great.
Yeah.
I like, well, when I can make it do what I want. Not when I'm in control and it's not going right. I don't like that.
That sounds like you're talking about money. You're like, I love money when I have it. When I have money, it's great. With no money, it seems to be less fun.
Well, it's like, if everything's going great for me, I would very much like to be responsible for that. But if things suck, it would be great if that was not my fault. That would be nice.
So what do you... When you okay, so let's go back to the other thing where you're talking about you're trying to pinpoint for yourself how people are perceiving you, especially artistically. Like, you mean like as an act? You said when you send in tapes, so like in your head, you're like, let's say there's some producer out there who's gotten 4 tapes of you at different times for different things. Your thought process is, what do they see? What do they get from it when they open up the file that says Kira and they watch me? They're like, oh, it's this chick again. And then in their head, ... What's the ...
Yeah, I guess. I feel like I just don't. I think at school, I think actually all of my training always since I was a child was like, the world is going to try to typecast you. Don't let them. Be yourself. Go against your type. Like, just do whatever you want. And I'm like, cool, will do. So what am I trying to break out of exactly? Right. I feel like, okay, all right.
They didn't tell you?
No, I don't think anyone
was ever like, they're going to typecast you as this?
Yeah, I'm like, it's just funny because I feel like so many people are like, everyone told me that I was the funny one. And finally, I showed them that I could do dramatic work.
Right.
And I'm like, well, what happens if no one ever told you were one funny? Of anything?
So what if no one's ever... Wow.
I guess let's just get to the root of this, Rob.
So if they've never said I'm anything, am I nothing? Shit.
Ooh, maybe.
I didn't know we were going to get this deep that quick. I mean, the recording says 58 minutes, but most of that was me waiting on you. I didn't know that this early onto the show, we were going to get deep.
Were you actually on the Zoom that whole time?
Yeah.
But I told you, I said no.
Yeah, but you said you'd give me a 5-minute warning.
Which
so I
did, but like,
right. I'm at my desk. I'm not miserable here. It's not made of spikes. I
don't want to talk. I don't want to go back to this. I feel ashamed.
Okay.
This is the thing that
So
I did have control of and I messed up.
Right. We'll come back to the time when you have the money. Okay. Yeah. So, Jesus, it's like my mind got blown and I short circuited there for a second. I have to rewire myself to get back in. Okay. So, all right, well then let's go back and I'll ask you the question, the only question on this show, which is, where are you from?
Oh yeah. I'm from Redmond, Washington.
And where the hell is that?
That, Rob, is the birthplace of Microsoft.
Is that right?
That's right.
That was the Gates
yes, that
way?
Is actually true. Yeah. But he lives in a very fancy house on the water now.
You guys are neighbors.
I think Bellevue. Well, I did babysit for him once.
Is that true?
And he was like, "You're so funny."
See,
and that was the
one time.
You
were full of shit. No, Bill Gates tried to pigeonhole you and you just wouldn't take it. That's what happened.
I said no. And that's when I became famous, Rob. The moment I decided Bill Gates couldn't tell me anything.
Yeah, what does he know? He's been wrong about most things.
Yeah, gosh. Bill. Yeah, I love it there. I moved home for almost a year during the pandemic because I was like, why am I paying rent? And
yeah.
And it was great. Actually, I worked at a school and worked in a restaurant and hiked, and I love it there. I really love it there. It's the most beautiful place. I know everyone's biased, but I think I'm right.
Yeah, but not everyone has that opinion about where they're from. That's a thing that I definitely have found. I've got one of my best friends who didn't go to school of the arts, but was one of my best friends growing up. He's lived in New York since 2004, and he moved there when he was 18. So he just this last October passed the marker to where now he's lived in New York longer than he lived in Austin, where he's from.
Wow.
And so he does, I'm sure he would have reasonably nice things to say about Austin, but I don't think there's any part of him that ever considers moving back for that long of a time like you did. Mm-hmm. And so it is definitely, it is a minority of people who are like, I really dig my hometown and it's hard to be away from it. Most people are like me and they're like, man, fuck that place.
Yeah. Well, I should be clear. It was very much out of necessity and just it was like coming from a pure place of privilege, which is that I could live with my parents without paying rent, to be clear. So like, and I did.
Yeah, but there are people who would
experience.
rather live on the street in their new town than move back in with their fucking parents. So that's not, you know,
that's true.
A lot of people have that option.
Yeah, that's true. I know. And I was very lucky to be able to do that. And it was a huge financial gift because obviously like I like my survival job. I was a bartender. I lost my job and it was like, you know, and I had a roommate who was immune compromised and it was like, what do I do? So anyway, I left and it was great. And actually like for a while I was like, I don't know, man, New York has not been what I thought it was going to be. My life isn't where I thought it was going to be. Should I just
What does that mean? One at a time.
Ooh. Oh, God.
Start with New York. That sounds easier.
Digging deeper. I hate this.
It's interesting to me.
Well,
I mean, you don't have to answer me. We can be what do you like about Washington State? I mean, that's interesting too,
Let's
I
do
guess.
that forever. Is it okay? Well, it is interesting, but I will answer your question because now I'm feeling obstinate. So to be honest.
Take the control back, Kira. Just take it back.
Yeah, I need to. Okay. So New York. Well, I mean, it's like I feel like it's such a boring, it's such a cliche, you know, everyone who's been on the show, not everyone, many people, you think, oh, I'm the special one. Oh yeah, they say it's going to be hard, but for me, it probably won't be because I just hope it won't be. And therefore let's not consider the alternative.
Sure.
And then, you know, like 99.9% of people, the alternative is what happened. And I don't know. I like doing what I'm doing. It sounds weird, but like right now I'm probably going to be like, ooh, I should just do podcasts all the time. This is fun. And if I'm like nannying, I'll be like, oh man, I love working with kids. Or if I'm, you know, acting, I'm like, this is it. And that's the one through line, obviously, but I get very like, I like doing whatever I'm doing. I get really like in it.
Invested in whatever your current project is.
Yeah. And like, I was just thinking the other day that kind of hit me that I remember clearly this one moment where it was in, I think, sophomore year of high school. And I had just like, I knew that I wanted to like be an actor and do that for college. So I was doing like after school acting training and everything. And then I got home from school and had volleyball practice. And I was like, Mom, I got to do club volleyball. Like, I really want to do it. It's going to be so fun. And I also like, we had a really good choir rehearsal today. And I think I should join like the youth choir in Seattle because like, I just like got to get more singing and all this stuff. And she was like, oh, okay. All of those things happen at the same time.
Right.
You can't do all of them. You can't. So you have to choose. Mm-hmm. And I feel like all my life, I'm still like, why do I have to choose? It's so unfair, which we don't really, but that's another story.
But you kind of do. I said to, I've lost track. I've done so many of these. I recently said to somebody else, type whatever I fucked up below in the comments, everybody. But I said it to someone about if you really are being fair and you're aware of the world, you'll always feel like there is more great shit to do than you'll ever have time to do. Because that's the truth. Like, you'll always feel that way if you're really paying. And if you don't feel that, then I think there's a good chance that your mental health and overall self-care regime is not functioning properly because it's a fact. There is more, like, no matter what you like, whether you like shooting guns or you like painting pictures or doing plays or nannying kids or doing podcasts, like whatever the fuck you want to do, there's just so much shit.
I know.
There's so much great shit.
I know.
And there's not enough time.
All. I know.
And we have to go to bed for like a third of the time we're here. Yeah.
I know. It's so annoying.
It's
Do you
so
know, like,
great that you
sometimes-
have that attitude though, Kira, because a lot of people are like, this life is bullshit and I'm bored.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would say that I am either like, let's go, or I'm like, yeah, why would I do anything? It's all pointless. Cool. So there's that.
Do you have
There's
the flip
balance.
side too?
Oh boy, I have a big old flip side, baby.
What are the-
It's a
what are
big
the-
flip side.
What are the percentages? How much is
Oh,
plus Kira plus and Kira minus? How
Boy,
much
like
time? How much time do each of them get of yours?
you know, it really fluctuates. And it's definitely like phases. Like,
Sure.
I mean, there will be solid like weeks where it's minus, or I'm just kind of like, I get very flatline sometimes. And which I think is scary, especially as an actor, because the whole point, like, who cares if I don't care, nobody cares.
That's
and
right.
if and it's also like crazy because I know I'm like tangenting. I
No, it's fine.
get very scattery, but
I got you.
I know you do. But I'll like let's say I'm doing an audition while I'm in that minus space, and the character is dealing with something so heavy. And I'm approaching it, and I don't care. I don't care. Nothing. It doesn't matter. And that it scares me because I think, do I have the capacity to not care if this happened to me? Because to me, that's what I'm striving to do in all of my acting, is to let it be real. And I know, I already apologize for being on a tangent. I'm not going to do that again, but it's scary to flatline when I also can get very almost manic, I think, in like hyper focus and tons of energy. And if that sometimes suddenly falls away, and I don't know when it will, I think it's scary. It's really scary because I'm like, well, if I promised Rob to do the podcast, and then on that day, I'm like, I can't, get out of bed. And I don't think there's a lot of days when I really can't get out of bed. I know if that's the reality for some people. And so I'm lucky to not have that. But I don't know. I think it's scary, especially when my job is to be emotionally honest. If it's dead in here,
That's fascinating to me. And I have a few different thoughts as you said that. And the main one is like, so I go back to kind of the beginning of what you said, which is like, there are times when you're in the minus, right? The minus, Kira minus has the reins, and you're not feeling it, and you're generally just kind of blah about it all, not necessarily sad or anxious or depressed, maybe, but at the very least just like apathetic and like, who gives a shit, right? And then you're given this side where you got to send in a tape or something, or let's say you even go into an audition in 2022. Can you imagine? And you have to portray circumstances of someone else who is dealing with something dark. And you said that you'll be in that moment attempting to do that, and you'll feel nothing, that it'll feel just kind of like you're not connected to it. I can understand some fear, but it makes perfect sense, right? Like, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you be able to connect with someone else? I think about it like this, right? If you played the piano, let's say, like really well, and that was the thing you were doing instead of acting, and you had to go to an audition, you could hit all the notes on a piece of music, and then the people casting that piano playing part, they're like, she was fine. She did it. She hit every note, but I didn't feel that she gets this music, because you didn't, because you weren't fucking in it. And like, it requires that of you, good or bad. Just because you're in a bad place, that doesn't mean that's going to help you play a character that's in a bad place. I'd say it's probably more the opposite. You're probably going to be better at being the sad girl when you're not a sad girl. Because sad Kira doesn't give a shit. She doesn't care. Yeah. Why would she give a shit? And then so what? She's got to, not only are you barely getting through caring about your own problems, you got to care about this fake chick's problems too, who's not even real. Forget about it.
Whoa. Wow, I never thought about it like that.
It totally makes sense that you wouldn't be there. And like any one of us doing whatever we do, whether it's like playing piano or being an accountant or, you know, producing TV shows or making podcasts, whatever, it all suffers when you're not in it. It all gets worse if you're like not in a good place, I think.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to not be in a good place all the fucking time. Yeah. Like that's another thing that I think, I don't know. I hope my friends and the people I don't talk to all the time, I hope they're learning that. You seem to be fine about it, but a lot of people give themselves a hard time if they go into the minus for a little while. When I think it's like, you should accept that as an inevitability. You're going to, one day you're going to wake up on a Monday and you're going to be like, I do not want to do any of this.
Yeah.
Fuck all this today.
I think what kills me though is that like what you and I were just talking about, which I also love that you said that you think it's a good thing to feel like, I can never do it all. And there's so much I want to do. Cause I always feel like, all right, calm down. Like that's a lot to rein it in. And I like that you were like, no, it's a good thing. Not that I need validation.
Don't let anyone take the Leslie Knope out of you.
I'm love Leslie Knope, and I relate to her a lot.
I kind of swung for a reference there, and I wasn't sure if you would get it, but I'm telling you.
Oh, that's a big time. That's a big joy for me.
Well, that makes sense to me. I can feel that in you, but that is a fictional character. She gets like 2 episodes in 7 seasons where she's not on it. And that's crazy. It's a joke. Crazy. It's literally
also, everyone
a joke.
is really mean to her. Towards the end of the series, it is a big bummer. She gets recalled and she doesn't deserve it. Ugh.
It's true. But my point is the same with you.
Leslie. Okay.
The point is the same with you, which is like, you can't let them recall it out of you. That's okay to be sad.
Viral hashtag. Don't let them. No, I don't know.
Don't let them recall you.
But here's what I think really galls me is that when I get out of when I'm back to plus, I can look back on the last 2 weeks and be like, dude, what was I just doing? I just wasted so much time and look at how much there is to do. And now I have like all these things I want to do.
Yeah, and already. You're good though. Don't worry about it.
I want to do it all.
Yeah, it's over. But you missed it and it's gone. It would have been a great bus to get on. It was very fancy. It had new toilets, but it's gone. You missed it. And you gotta get the next bus.
Have you ever been on a bus that had a nice toilet?
A bus that had a nice one? No.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You said it had new toilets, and it made me wonder if you've ever had a nice.
No, but I'm saying
bathroom experience.
That's why it's my example, because if you had to take a bus somewhere, and you heard that the one that you were supposed to take had a nice toilet on it, and you missed it, you'd be like, "Fuck." That never happened, but it's gone.
Yeah.
The bus is not here anymore, Kira. So you just got to take the next fucking bus. It's going to be fine. Don't get too hung up on the thing that you missed.
Yeah.
That isn't.
Yeah.
That's rare anyway. You know? It's gone. Yeah. It's okay.
Okay.
It's totally okay.
Okay.
I want you to feel okay about it.
Okay, I feel okay. Thanks, Rob. This reminds me, I was just listening. I haven't finished yet, but I was just listening to your conversation with Ellie, who
she's the best ever.
She's the best. She's so great. And I saw her recently, which was wonderful. And it was so good. And anyway, just what you said, I was about to be like, oh, acting isn't therapy, but like maybe podcasting is, I don't know. Like
it would be if that was the goal of this, and I think it can be. And I think
is it your goal for today? Are you going to diagnose me?
No, I'm not capable of that. It's a good balance because that's what my wife is finishing graduate school to do. She's a social work therapist. She's almost done, and she is actually qualified to like help talk people through their shit. I'm just a curious person.
Yeah.
I just want to know. I have no agenda. And I don't. People think, they ask me all the time. They're like, how do I prepare for the show? And I'm like, I don't know.
You're like, we're going to talk.
Listen to the other episodes. So that way when I start telling a story that you've already heard, you can be like, yeah. Like, I heard you tell fucking Kira about that shit.
To the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it right now.
Yep. This is over.
No, like start a story. I want a chance to say no.
Oh, okay. I got it. No problem.
Okay, go.
I mean, this basically reminds me about the time that I had gone with I don't have anything. I couldn't think of a story I've already told.
It's okay. It's okay.
In my head, they're all new. So they're all, yeah, I know. That's why they keep coming out.
That. Yeah.
No, it's not, because there's got to be people listening to this show who don't let me know, but they're like, you got to stop fucking telling that story, man.
Oh. Well.
The one that
I guess.
There's one that I've told more than once, I know for sure, is about when I quit Comedy Central. I've talked about that a bunch of times.
Oh, I don't actually know that story, so I'm gonna have to go back and find it.
It's probably some.
Put it in the comments if you know which episode that was, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
This is about you. Don't say that on my show.
I've always wanted to say that.
We don't say that here.
Don't whatever you do.
Yeah, do whatever you want. Don't give a shit. That's what we say.
Sorry, do whatever you want.
Unlike it. Find a platform with a dislike
whatever.
And drop it on there.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about you. No, we're supposed to talk about you. Deflecting is what you're doing.
What?
Washington.
Yeah.
Growing up in Washington.
Love it.
You know what? I do want to talk to you about something, because we kind of talked about this a little bit when we were doing the Bent thing. I want to talk about your faith a little bit. Are you comfortable talking about that?
Okay. I am, yeah.
So talk to me about your relationship to like church and all that shit when you were a little kid.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay.
It's interesting to me. What I remember us talking about, I remember being very interesting, kind of your relationship to it. That's why I bring it up. It's kind of randomly for the listeners. But for me, it's something I've been like, I've always thought about.
Yeah. So I was raised Christian, and I have a big family. I have 5 siblings, so there's 8 of us total, including my parents. And when I was younger, we were pretty. I use like hyperbole a lot to describe it, but I want to be accurate.
Okay.
And so I will just, it was pretty like intense and maybe fundamental-ish when I was younger. And I actually really appreciate a lot of the intention behind that. My parents both were neither of them were raised really Christian in like in a way that was like a personal relationship, I guess I would say.
Okay.
With God. And for them, they converted a little bit later. I think for my dad, it was high school, and my mom, maybe high school or early college. I'm not totally sure exactly, but
what's your grandparents' relationship with that? Like, were they like atheists, or were they just like, yeah, we're Christian on the form, but we don't fucking go and shit like that? Right.
I think it was more, I think more like culturally. I actually don't know, but I don't think my dad grew up like going to church at all, really. And maybe like for Christmas Eve or something like that, but it certainly wasn't a family practice. And same with my mom. My mom's side of the family was, dang it, it's either Episcopalian or might be Episcopalian, actually.
The fact that you're unsure, I think, lets us know how important that is.
Yes. Yeah. It wasn't something that like that practice. Let's just say that the way their faith came to be as they were adults was much, much more meaningful to their lives than it was when they were children.
Got it.
Through their parents. So for them, it was really important to raise their kids in the way that I think they both kind of wish they had been raised. Maybe that might be a liberty. So
right.
Mom, if you're watching this, maybe that's not true. And I'm sorry if I'm misrepresenting that. But yeah, so it was pretty, essentially what they did was and I agree with this, they didn't really want us to go to a church in the area because they felt, and this is, again, my understanding of it as, I guess, a child, as the last time it was probably explained to me, but that, and the way I see it, like God is the thing, or your relationship, however you want to see it. And people are not perfect. And any organization that is made up of people is not going to be perfect either. So they didn't feel that any church, any organization in the area was like really truly teaching actual
what they believe
Bible
to be the faith.
Right. Without like politics or greed or other things kind of influencing. So they did something called home church, which is like our family and a couple families. We were also homeschooled. And like, just to like another layer of like, just to get a sense of like what it was like when I was little, like,
yeah,
like I didn't wear, like I didn't wear, I wore skirts to church, and like wearing I've said this before in an accidental way that sounds like I was not allowed to wear pants. So I'm trying to be.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Skirts. People have been like, what? Were you in
You
a
had
cult?
to dress traditionally feminine to
Correct.
church. Yes.
That's right. And like, yeah, we were homeschooled, and like sometimes we made our own clothes, and it was like doing keepers at home, which was like in my adulthood reminiscing that was training to be a housewife. And
sounds
it
kind
was
of
very
Quakery to me.
Insular. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It was very, yeah. And I think I honestly, the older I get and the more I'm like ideating on possibly having my own children someday.
Right.
I'm like, I get it. The world is scary and horrible. And like, we didn't have a TV. I'm like, I get it.
Sure.
Bad. Just kidding. TV's fine. But anyway, so that was kind of the culture growing up. And
your parents very much had, and I'm not your mom's child, so I'll speak freely, and you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But it sounds like, and I don't have a lot of judgment for this because I've often thought to myself, if I was a parent, I don't know that I would take the same approaches, but the overall idea, which is like, the world kind of feels like it's on these runaway tracks that we don't agree with in a lot of ways. And so we're just, even though it's maybe not what everyone else is doing, we're going to control what we think we know better about, which when it comes to our children is like almost everything.
Yeah.
Like we'd rather them not learn from the church or from school or from, the television or any of those that we don't want any of those things having a say in who the kids end up being until they get older, and then they can make those choices on their own. Did they have that attitude, or were they expecting you to like stay underground?
No, it was
I'm being
the first
dramatic.
Thing. I know.
It's fun for me.
I know. Yeah, I know. You little drama queen. I know. Yeah, no, it was, I think, very much more like we want to like protect you as long as we can kind of thing.
Did they expect, but was there an expectation that you would maintain this kind of cultural conservatism after you left home, or did they like, oh shit, what did you do in North Carolina? What the fuck?
Yeah. No. Well, and that was like when I was younger. Like I actually vividly remember I might have been 10, around 10, could have been a little younger, but I vividly remember I was very tomboyish, so already hated skirts because, first of all, how can you climb a tree in a skirt? Tell me that. You can't. Fun fact, it's like way more inappropriate because, there's a hole. So
you can do it alone.
Can't. Yeah, that's true.
You can climb a tree in a skirt if you're by yourself.
Yeah, if you're by yourself, but who knows who might wander.
But you've got 36 siblings, so can't do that.
Exactly. Someone's always bound to wander by. I specifically remember we had this like 9-seater Suburban, that would all like pile into. And I remember very clearly getting ready for church one morning, wearing pants. And I got out of the car and my dad saw me. And I remember so vividly, he did not say a word. He just looked at me with such disappointment, because in our family, we did not disobey.
Right.
We did not disobey. It was not one of those situations where you can beg, ask them to change their mind. Oh, you said I can't go to the sleepover. Well, but what if
there was no negotiation in your house?
That is right. We were the terrorists. We don't negotiate. No, I was kidding. No, but like, yeah. And I just remember, and then he turned around and went inside, and I wore pants to church ever since. And
you just did it, and you just suffered the shame, the visual shame.
When I was like, whatever. Cause I was like, this is weird. Why are we weird? I don't want to be weird. I was like 9 or 10.
And when you say to church, what does that mean?
Oh yeah. Sorry. So we joined a church that wasn't just like these like 6, 7 families. When my oldest sister was like, gosh, maybe 13 or 14. And they, like they had 6 kids. They wanted us to like be in like developmentally appropriate, like youth groups and have like social interactions and join like a larger community. They kind of outgrew that. So I don't even know exactly how long, but when I was little, like all our home videos from when I'm like a baby till, I don't know, maybe I was like 7 or 9. I don't know. Honestly, I have a bad memory.
Sure.
We were home church, and then we went to a Lutheran church.
Okay.
And yeah, so sorry, I forgot to say, we did eventually go to an actual church. And that is why we took the car there. Not like to our own house.
Right. I was like, you're driving to the backyard.
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
And here we are. We're at church, guys.
So how much did that attitude create like rebellion in you versus your siblings? Like we said 6 kids?
Yeah.
So you got 6 kids, all of whom are initially raised in a like religious, we know better, the outside world is full of scary but probably interesting shit that we really wish you would not participate in at all. So just don't do that. You got 6 kids. I would imagine there's a spectrum of rebellion to that. There's probably some siblings who were like, fuck you, mom, give me, I want drugs and rock and roll. And then you've got to probably have another sibling that's like, mom and dad had it right. You all should be behaving because this is fucked up. Do we have a little bit of everything, or did you all go in different?
For sure.
Okay.
Well, I would say
and who are you, Kira Geiger, on the spectrum?
Yes, Rob. Who do you think I am?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you.
Rob. No one's ever
I would never. I'm asking you to put yourself in the box.
No, I know. Well, okay. So growing up, first of all, I was the first bad one. Okay. I was bad.
Where are you in the age?
I'm the 4th. So this is what I always tell people about showbiz. I'm always like, I'm not even the only middle child.
Right.
So like I have middle child syndrome squared because I'm not even the only one they forgot about. Just kidding. They didn't forget me. Actually, one time they did forget me at church. Me and John, who's the other middle child.
Another reason to keep doing church at home. Can't forget a kid if you just stay home.
Can't forget your kids at home if you're at home. Stay home, guys. COVID. Okay. So I don't know why I'm like very punchy because we're talking about my childhood. Okay. Yeah. So, so my second oldest sister, she was like the pioneer. Okay. Well, let me start at the beginning. Kate is the oldest, and first of all, she was dorky. Okay. She was the only one of us homeschooled all the way to high school graduation. And then she went to college, and like, she is now the coolest one of all of us. She's so kind and so freaking smart and so well adjusted. I don't know how it happened because I'm still really socially awkward, and I was only homeschooled till 7th grade. Okay.
You're not socially awkward.
I feel that I am on the inside, Rob.
Okay. Let's not. Well, you're constantly telling me at the top of this that you want to know what other people think of you. You are not a socially awkward person. So there's my vote.
Yes. I'm writing it down on my spreadsheet.
Please do.
Okay. So she was like good all the way through. She was like, she like pierced her nose in college, and that was like the extent, right? crazy. Okay. Wild stuff. And she's amazing. Now, the second oldest, she was the first one who went to school. She went to school.
Okay.
She went to school. And this was a very big deal. And she dyed her hair like a little bit blonde. And she played basketball. And she got to go to homecoming.
With a boy?
With a boy.
What?
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, at age 14, she got a date. Not
nice.
date, not a dating date, but like to the dance.
Right.
She was the first two-piece bathing suit in that family.
Got it. Yeah, that's clear.
She led the way for me. Do you understand?
Yeah.
She, if I wanted to go to the mall with my friends, I'd be like, you got to talk to mom for me.
Yeah.
Because she was good at it. And I was not. And then my older brother my older brother is the nicest person you would ever meet in your freaking life. He is so funny.
You all sound very kind so far.
They're so great.
We're not through them all yet, so I'll let you finish.
Well, just you wait. No. But he he also didn't really like rebel, and then it was my turn, and I did bad. That's
what we all want to know. Just go ahead. What'd you do?
I got suspended.
For what?
From high school for drinking.
For drinking in high school? How old were you?
For drinking in high school, 16.
How, like, under what circumstances did you get?
It was like a party after homecoming.
Okay.
And someone ratted on us, but also like so dumb.
Was it like a house raid? Like cops showed up and started handing out like minor impossessions or what?
No. Well, so also to be clear, I went to a private Christian school and we all signed pledges.
Of course.
Of like stuff. So
that you can't drink or have sex, right?
Like basically, yeah.
Got
or
it.
do drugs.
So no fun.
The drugs, Rob. How dare you?
No fun clause.
No fun.
Got it.
And
you could not
anyway,
have paid me to sign that shit when I was that age. Nothing.
Know.
There's nothing anyone could have done. And you know what's crazy is I didn't drink or do any drugs until I was out of high school at all.
See, I swear it's almost like not. Well, no, that is not true.
What were you gonna say? How do we know if it's not true?
I was going to say I feel like I was so like I'm gonna do what I want because of all the rules. However, it's funny. I've tried to examine that because like when I was a sophomore in high school, I had some public school friends.
Okay.
Scary.
Yeah.
Cool. Public school. I had public school friends who I would hang out with and like go to parties with them. But I didn't drink. And it I was like, it wasn't like a weird thing. People would like pressure me. No, I would like go to the parties and hang with my friends and they would drink and I would like drive them home and I'd like clean up because I'd be like, you guys are disgusting. Let me clean up.
You're like
this
the
counter.
shiny DD mom.
Yeah. But like cool, I think.
Like a cool mom.
I'm a cool mom. And then I don't know, but I don't feel like I always was like, the rules suck. I want to be free, man. I'm going to do what I want. And then I feel like I also feel like I don't know. I want to go back and examine that part of my life because a lot of things happened and I feel like my junior year was very formative for me, I think. And even now, like, I mean, I went to freaking art school and a lot of people there are like, you know, were actively anti-religion and I had never experienced that before. So I was like, oh, okay. All right.
How'd you feel about that?
I think I was just kind of like surprised and like maybe a little hurt because, and you know, and again, it's like there's nuance to how I personally, my relationship, you know, to these things. But I think to hear people speak really vehemently against the intelligence and the value and the almost like existence of like my family, essentially, it was like, oh, like, wow. And, you know, I think it was hard because then I felt like either I had to be like, hey guys, so it's cool, but like you're like kind of talking about my mom right now, so could you not? Or being like, yeah, totally agree. I never had the like 180 that I think a lot of people raised really fundamentally have, where they're like, fuck this, like you ruined me, whatever.
Yeah,
and I think
because
that's
they also
valid.
loaded you up with like value, and there's a lot of really great things that came along with that.
Exactly.
No, I hear what you're saying, and I think I've been almost all the characters in the story that you just laid out. No, I have, because I grew up in a somewhat religious household, but we were never by any means culturally conservative. But I have a lot of people in my extended family who definitely are very strict, and I also, in high school thought I wanted to be Jewish for a while. And then after that, I read The God Delusion by Richard Dawkins, and I was like, oh shit, it's harmful. Like, it's not just a thing that's not for me. Religion is like, at its best, it provides community value and maybe some morality, but at its worst, it like starts wars and does atrocious shit. And then I kind of cooled out on it into my 20s, being like, but it doesn't do that enough that I need to be angry about it all the time or judge everyone I meet that's a part of it. I think that what's tough for a lot of people, and this was me for a long time trying to make peace with this, because I'm now married into a very religious Christian family, and they know I'm not at all.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They're okay with it, but as they can be. But they, I think the thing that is tough for a lot of people, and what you probably were experiencing when you first got to school and met all these like loud atheists, basically.
Loud atheists, yeah.
It is like, it's hard for people who feel that way to reconcile that there seems to be inherently something to them missing from the whole concept of faith, which is like, if there isn't anything proven or in black and white, or if something in science seems to contradict the faith, that in order to fully embrace that life, you have to ignore all of that. And if you're ignoring science and things that are either proven or disproven, then how's it possible to be both an intelligent person and be doing that? And I talk to my wife about it all the time. I mean, because she's probably much closer to you in her experience with Christianity. Definitely grew up in a very conservative family, and now has a very personal relationship with God that is not tied to going to church on a regular basis or reading the Bible all the time. It was, but now it's not really. It's more between, her and the universe, the entity, whatever God is to her. I don't want to speak for her, is the reason I struggle for the words. But I think that it's, first of all, it's people in their 20s and like late teens, right? They're fucking mean and not good at communicating mostly.
And it comes from hurt too, I think.
It comes from the people who have caused them pain, that walk in those shoes, and it's just like anything else. They haven't met enough Christians that were like good people, that were kind to them overall. And that was the problem that's the problem I had with becoming a hateful atheist. I got too many good Christians in my family. They're good people. They are. They're good people. Right? They're not perfect, and they often struggle to understand some things culturally that are new for them or different for them. But generally, man, most of the people in my family who consider themselves like, regular everyday Christians, they just want everybody to win. They want what's best for everybody. They want everyone to eat. They want everyone to be happy. And do you need something? Oh, I'm sorry. It's like that's the value that's there for a lot of people. And for me personally, I just try to remind myself of that when I run up against the kind of people who are like, you can't do this and you're not allowed to have rights because you're this way or whatever. That's only some people. And there's more of the other people.
Yeah. Totally.
The problem is they're not as loud.
I know. How is that? How is it that hate gets so loud? I don't know.
Because the concern that they have is more immediate, right? So like if I love you and I want you to be happy and I want your family to be healthy and good, right? I just need you to occasionally remind me that you are, because I'm hoping you're there most of the time. So I'm going to check in with you once a week, maybe, whatever, when I see you at church or I see you at the thing. And hey, Kira, how you doing? You doing good? How's your family? Your family's good? Well, that's great to hear. Happiness. I'm winning. Great. Everything's great. But if I hate you because you're different or because you're whatever it is that makes me hate you, I need you to be doing worse. And you can never be doing the worst you could possibly do to the point where I'm like satisfied. I want you to not be doing the shit that you're doing that I don't like. I want you to be learning that that's not okay and don't do it again in the future. And I want you moved away. And there is progress to be made on all three of those things every single day, baby. Every single day and so I've got more to do when I hate. That's focused on everybody else.
Yeah.
That's why most people who are successful, like really successful, and there's very rare exceptions to this. Most people who are very successful and doing a lot are not hateful people. Because they don't have any time. All we have to do, we're just checking in and you good? You're good? All right. And we move on and we go on with the thing we want to do to make us good or the thing we're doing to help you be good. That's less maintenance. It is time consuming and exhausting to hate people. You're on fucking comment sections all day. Oof. You're standing with signs. It's hard work being full of hate.
Yeah. Yeah. Guys, just like take a load off.
Yeah. Take a load
off. You know,
it's less work.
Some podcast therapy.
Be lazy with us.
Be lazy with us. Come to a minus place. Minus places are great. No, they're not, but they are not hateful. So that's
I feel like the hateful people are in the minus place already. We might be mixing our analogies here a little bit.
Yeah, but I just want them to be in the apathetic, can't get off the couch minus place.
Right. Well, they need to smoke more pot.
Yeah.
That'll lock them into the couch.
Yeah.
So were you doing that too in high school? You're in Washington. Are you getting high? Did you get drunk?
No. Well, it wasn't legal when I was in high school.
Yeah, but it was in Washington State.
Well, sorry.
It was there. It wasn't legal. It wasn't legal because you were in high school. Even if it was legal, you wouldn't have been old enough.
Yeah, I was never, it's actually funny. I never liked weed at all. Like I smoked a couple times in high school, even in college. And I was like, I don't like this.
I get it.
Again, I'm already anxious, especially socially. And so it only made things worse. And if I was around people, it was horrible. I was like, why do people do this for fun? This is supposed to be relaxing.
If you're in North Carolina or somewhere else where it is illegal and you're getting weed, especially in 2005 to 2020, I would say, in the last 15 years or so, and you're living somewhere where it's illegal, you know so little about what you're getting. There used to be a time when weed was illegal everywhere, and it was pretty shitty everywhere. Okay. Even the best weed in 1985.
When you say shitty, what do you mean? It doesn't work so good, or?
Yeah. So what makes weed good is really simple, right? There's an amount of THC and CBD in each plant. And it's like anything else, right? You can grow tomatoes really big and plump, or if your tomato crop's not that good, it can be small and withery and you don't get as much tomato out of it. It's the same kind of thing with weed. Your stuff can be really high in THC and be really effective. And then you can take another plant that's also like that and kind of breed them together to grow increasingly stronger plants. Well, for the longest time, 60s, 70s, 80s, even into the 90s, weed in America was basically the same. It was all low grade. It was like there was no liquor. There was only beer. That's all they knew. It's all they had.
Okay.
Then in the early 2000s, it started to become much more popular to introduce things like liquor or like Everclear or like all these other versions of weed that are like, whoa, holy shit. So if you're getting weed in the 20 years when that is being experimented on, but you can't go into a store and have a guy be like, hey, this is a sativa that you're going to get this effect out of. And this one over here is an indica and you're going to get this effect. Like if you don't have that, then you just got the back of some guy's car and whatever the fuck he has, which is, who knows if it's the 80s shit or the new liquor shit or the beer or you have no way of knowing. So it's a weird time for people your age and my age to be experimenting with weed because it's like, the shit was getting weirdly strong and different and special.
Interesting.
While no one was able to know what they got. It's like the mad scientist is making 8 different flavors, but it goes through too many people to get to
terrifying.
You.
Yeah. I never thought about that before. I mean, I never bought weed. Like,
sure.
It would usually be like, people like, Kira, smoke weed. And I'd be like,
right. At a party, someone has a joint. Yeah.
Yeah. And again,
all the girls in your fucking class that I know personally, I'm friends with, they all smoke spliffs too. And you don't smoke cigarettes. So you're like, if you're ever smoking weed with the girls in your class, they're giving you tobacco.
Well, and I just never did because I was like, I don't like it. I'm sorry. They'd be like, but why? And I'm like, I know that you love it and you want to share it with me, but it's not fun. But this is why it's exciting. I still don't really like to smoke because I always like hurts my throat and I get really paranoid. I don't sing a lot anymore.
Girl to me.
Yeah, girl. So I like reason again. Actually, it's because I lived in Washington for a year, and that it wasn't even legalized in New York yet.
Right.
I don't think in 2020. And anyway, so like I was working at a restaurant, and I went with 2 of my coworkers who were like big potheads. And I was like, I need you to take me and I need you to tell me what to get because I get a lot of anxiety and I don't like that, but it sounds like I want to try. Like, I feel like if people around the world love it, perhaps I should give it another chance. And I did, and I get the like 1-to-1 CBD to THC and was like, oh, this is why people like it.
I'm so happy about this story right now.
Me too. And because like, I feel like for so long, I really thought like alcohol is a great vice. Weed is for lazy losers. Sure. And I get stuff done. You know what you get done when you drink a lot? Bad things.
Yeah.
Like, sure, you're going out and doing, no. And I just like, was like, oh, if I want to chill and I want to do something that's whatever your school of thought, and if it's like healthy or good for you, I know there's so much freaking information, whatever. If I want to do something a little bit more fun than normal life, I love to have a little edible and then like listen to music or do a puzzle.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And
with
it's great.
See, yeah, with weed, you can get at least a clean kitchen. If you have too much, like, you know, you can get that out of it. You could get a clean kitchen. With drinking, you're lucky if you get chlamydia, you know?
Right.
It's like, it's not going to lead to the right decisions. You don't have a
hangover. You don't have like, oh, I ordered 3 pizzas and now my sheets are full of tomato sauce, like whatever. I don't know. And like that
sounds specific, like that you dealt with that.
That hasn't happened actually, but now I feel like everyone's going to think that it did. So
yeah, for sure. You eat 3 pizzas in bed when you're drunk. That's what we know about you now.
Break out of it.
Please do. That's your type.
Pizza.
We found
pizza in bed, girl.
Drunk pizza in bed chick, number 2.
Yeah. She's number 2. That's right. That's right. Yeah, but I feel actually very grateful because, well, and I won't say anything else, but I won't say anything specific, but I have a friend who is having a very hard time recently and having a hard time eating, having a hard time sleeping. And I was like, I know this isn't your bag, but we're going to hang out and we're going to go to the store together. Let's get something. Let's try it together. and just see how you feel. And like a week later, this person texted me and was like, dude, I've been
Game changer.
I've been sleeping. And I was like, yeah. And I don't know. I feel like I finally understand why it's so important to people. You know,
how do your parents feel about you being a huge pothead now?
Oh my gosh, I'm not a pothead. No, I mean, I think she knows this. I hope she didn't just find out right now, but
now.
She might. I don't know.
Calm
Sorry,
down.
Mom.
She's a really cool, capable, talented, beautiful young lady. If she needs to have a fucking gummy bear from time to time.
I don't need a gummy bear.
Or
but no,
chocolate
I actually think
raisin,
my mom would be
whatever.
like, no, I like gummies actually.
Okay.
But no, I think my mom would actually, in fact, I'm sure we will talk about this.
There you go.
I'm sure we will talk about this. But it's been so good, I think, lately, like, especially growing up the way I did. I didn't know, as I started to like diverge a little from what I knew they wanted for me, it was hard to, I mean, it kind of doesn't make sense cognitively. How could I behave in a way that I know is disappointing to someone that I love so much?
Oh, I do that all the time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know, but like, ooh, if you really think and not just that, like, I love them and they mean a lot to me, but the sacrifice for me that they did and the life that I know they want for me, the kind of person I want to be.
Yeah.
It's like, oof, but obviously you got to be your own person, because living to be someone else's person,
and
it's not actually satisfying anyway for them.
You don't owe anybody that. That's the thing too. This is what's tough for me, and I think this is one of those things where it's really okay for people to have different opinions on stuff. It's okay for people not to agree, but I really feel strongly about my side of it. And I talk to my wife about this all the time because she's Korean. Mm-hmm. Her family is very conservative, traditional, like 100% Korean. I'm like one of 2 extended white people in the whole family. Yeah. And we've done things in our personal life, and we have parts of our identity that to them, they bring it to us with this, like, do you know that this is not okay with us? Mm. And I'm like, now I do, but do you think that it not being okay with you competes in any way in importance with how important it is to me to be that? Like, it doesn't even compare. Like, I don't want to hurt you, and I'm sorry that you're in pain because of who I am. But if you even think we're starting a conversation about me changing any of that for you, we should just walk away now. Because I'm not even entertaining that concept that I like owe you being someone else. So what? Yeah. So that, like, when you go to church and they're like, hey, I heard about your son-in-law, or, oh, your daughter, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't give a fuck about that. Yeah. Fuck those people. You should be backing me up to them. I shouldn't be changing my life so that it's easier for you to explain it to the people in your circles. I don't care about those people. I care about you. I care about you being happy. But like, I didn't have a vote when my parents brought me into this world. I didn't have anything to do with that. And do I appreciate and have tremendous gratitude for how great my parents were? Yeah. Do I feel like I owe them living my life a certain way? No, never. I've never felt that. I've never felt that in my whole life. Like, wow. I just don't.
Why?
And I don't,
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Maybe it's because they never made me feel like I owed it to them. That's probably part of it. Because my parents constantly were like, you know, they preached virtue and value and morals, and not perfectly all the time. They're not perfect people, but they wanted me to just be a good person. And at the end of the day, they were like, but be whoever you want to be. Like, we don't give a shit. One of the examples is both my parents work in automotive repair. My dad's retired now, but my mom still does. They both, for my entire life, pretty much, worked in fixing cars. And then my parents got divorced and they married other people also in the car fixing business. Everybody
I didn't know that piece.
I used to do it. I worked in a body shop for a while. My sister, my brother, my stepbrother, it's the family business. And they always told me when I was a kid, we don't care what you do for a living. Do whatever you want. Just don't do this. It's not good. It's not a good business. It won't make you happy. We all hate doing this. Don't do this. Just do something else.
Wow.
Just do something you like. And I actually thought for a long time that was what most kids were getting. Parents went to work. They hated their jobs because it's work. Work sucks. You come home and you tell your kid, follow your dreams, kid. Don't fucking do this shit.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there were parents out there who were like, yeah, I love my job. I had a good time today doing the thing at work that I like. And I never even conceived of that. So it's like that attitude went to everything. It was like, we don't care what you do. Just be a good person. Like, just, tell the truth, be kind, be a dick to people, like basic shit. A big thing was treat people with respect, and this wasn't coming out of them taking me to church every week. This was us watching like fucking movies and then being like, see what fucking Shirley MacLaine's doing in this movie. See what she's doing. Don't do that. Do this other thing, or, whoever. That's how I learned morality and shit.
Yeah.
100%. And so I never felt like I have to be Christian. I have to be straight. I have to be anything, do anything for a living. The only thing I owe my parents is liking my life. That's what they asked of me. They're like, just be happy. Do something that, surround yourself with people and activities that bring you joy, and be a good guy. And we'll always be proud of you, because who gives a shit? Yeah. Like, I don't know. That's hard for me to imagine. Yeah. Like the other way. And, my wife beautiful. Candace has a different situation, and it sounds like you don't have a contentious relationship with your family, but that is in you. That expectation of like, I would hate for them to read in the paper or see on the news that I was blah, 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 blah.
Oh yeah. Well, but I honestly think a large part of it is self-generated. Like I know, and I've had for years, my mom has been like, honey, just tell me I love you. I don't care. I want relationship with you. And I've always been like,
but what if you don't like it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, man, so annoying.
It's okay.
No, I know. It's just like, I'm a cry person. I'm always like, made it one day. No, I don't actually cry every day. I think, I do think, yes, there's like that, that, inner child fear of like, and of course you want your parents to love you for who you are. But I also I'm so interested in what you're saying, because I feel, not because of what they've said or done, I feel a lot of pressure from myself to honor them.
Of course.
In a way, because I know I could never have done what they did. They raised 6 freaking kids. My mom homeschooled all of us at the same time. Okay, that's insane. That's
and home churched you.
And home churched. Okay, this is insane. Like it's crazy to me. And I'm like, I don't even remember to floss sometimes. So this feels like she had how many kids by the time she was my age? Like 2, sure. I think, or just 1, whatever. Sorry, I'm bumping the mic. Anyway, I just feel like it's interesting you say that. It wouldn't occur to me. It would never occur to me to be like, my number one priority is that I live my life joyfully. And that's end of conversation. I think.
Do you think they want anything else from you?
I don't think so. I don't know. I guess there is some question then. If I absolutely know I will be loved unconditionally. I don't worry about that, which is a huge privilege.
And I believe you based on everything I've heard. I think that's true.
Yeah. But I feel like how painful must it be to want your child's life to look a certain way in terms of just look a certain way, and it doesn't. And I know it's like, I didn't choose to be born, and I get that. It's not a question of that. And I don't feel pressure from them. I don't know how to put this. It feels literally like if my actions that go against their desires, let's say, my actions that go against their desires, I know that it hurts them. I know that if I get cast in an HBO show with nudity and a sex scene, my dad will be devastated, wrecked.
Yeah.
And not even like, oh, it brings shame on the family, but just like morally, it would be a broaching of integrity. And I don't know if I would do it. I don't, whatever, that's a different can of worms, but it feels like having a knife and being like, I'm going to just cut your heart out and watch because it makes me happy, because I want to. And I know that's a really harsh way to put it.
Yeah.
And I hope this doesn't come across as an attack towards you, because I don't mean that.
No.
But I'm fascinated by you saying that, because it's never occurred to me to just like, I've always done what I wanted. I just like lied about it. I just lied about it.
Yeah.
Always, for a long time.
You know, I think it's also tied into a little bit of for me, in my experience anyway, talking to people about it. I think a lot of it also is tied into gender, frankly, because I feel like, I mean, I've dated so many girls with a similar relationship with their parents. I've dated so many girls. Some don't. Some boys.
Sorry. I'm not trying to be annoying. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. And it's true. So I have dated a number of girls, including my wife, who have a very similar relationship with their conservative families. I've attracted it my whole life. I've attracted very few women that are like free spirit. No, that would contradict the thing I said before. Shut up.
All right. Okay. Continue.
I am fabulous. Everyone wants to be with me.
Attracted very few women.
Yeah. I've attracted a lot of women, and I've dated all of them. God, not like that, but you know what I mean. So here's okay. Let me finish. All right,
sorry, I will.
All right. Shut up. It has been my experience that it is kind of baked into the gender role a little bit for the guy, the son, to be like, whatever, fuck you, I'm gonna do it. At least I've met more men that have that attitude than women, and especially. Man, especially pretty girls from conservative families. There's like a thing because they're not going to not go out into the world and like not be a hot girl. Like they can't stop. They can't stop doing that.
You'd be surprised. Just kidding. Anyway,
no, you can't. Good luck. And it's not, and you want to, why throw it away? That would be foolish. It's not even easy to do. You're either hot or you're not for the most part, and you can't just like turn it off. And so you're going to live how you live. And I'm being very serious. This attracts a certain amount of the world of life to you. And it just happens. And when you're good looking and talented, like you are, and almost all the women that I'm talking about in my experience meeting people, they're beautiful, they're talented. It puts them in situations where other people want to be around them and other people want to spend time with them. And it attracts people to them, not just like romantically or sexually, but like just period. It attracts people to you. And it is going to put you in situations where even if you didn't mean to, you're like, oh, there goes a joint, or hey, a shot of fireball, or hey, a really cute boy who's being really nice to you. Like all of these attractive things that your parents were like, fucking don't do that shit.
They said it like that too.
Yeah.
Didn't you, mother?
You're like, you motherfucker.
Can you imagine? And like, we were super conservative. Well,
I'm like one of the
F-bombs
sweetest guys with the nastiest mouth in America. And I know
me
that.
too. I have a bad mouth too.
It's why they never are ever going to support me through the school. They're like, we like At the Elephants. Thank you for doing it. But you say fuck too much and we're not putting it on the website.
Like, sorry.
Yeah, sorry,
And you know what, Rob? You're never going to change because you are who you are and you like your life and that's what matters.
And I don't owe them shit. That's right.
Yeah, I love that.
No, but
continue with your thought.
No, it's true though. It's one of those things that I feel like is a little bit harder, but at the end of the day, I think, I don't know. I used to feel so much harder about it. Like the idea that you shouldn't lie to your folks, especially when you have a good relationship with them, because here's what sucks about that. And I've loosened up on it because now I'm more like, hey, whatever you got to do, especially with my wife, she's got a cultural thing that I can't begin to really understand being Korean. And like her parents are both from Korea. It's not like they're Korean Americans, but very recently, we're at dinner, half of the table is speaking in Korean. And so it's like, it's very traditional. It's very conservative. And I have to respect that. I don't get that. And I don't understand how it works. And it works differently than I understand it.
Right.
But even when I dated white girls, I used to date a girl for years who we smoked weed together every day. We smoked weed every single day. It was like medication for us for a few different things. And we had to lie to her parents about it and pretend that we didn't do it. And we went and stayed at their place. We would like have a vape pen and sneak off behind the thing. And I'm like a grown adult in my mid-20s. Like, I don't need to sneak off to smoke. Like, we're in the middle of nowhere, first of all. Why am I hiding behind the barn? Like, this is dumb. And I have mixed feelings about it. I'm more patient now, but when I used to have this problem, I would get so frustrated and be like, just tell them the truth so I can be who I am. I don't want to lie anymore. I'm only lying because you're making me lie. And that was my frustration. But the card I used to play then, and this is the one I still think about because I don't care about that anymore. I'm like, whatever, I'm going to do what I want. And if people don't like it, I'm sorry. But the situation that I feel now still to this day is if I had kids and I thought I had this really great, honest relationship with them, and then I found out they've been lying to me about something for like 10 years when they could have told me and it would have been okay. I'm like, I would immediately go to myself and be like, bro, how did I fuck up to make you feel like you couldn't tell me this shit? I could have offered advice. I could have talked to you. I could have supported you through that. And maybe you didn't want it and that's your call. But like, that would devastate me because I've had that happen in my personal relationships, like with friends and coworkers, where they're afraid to bring me something, especially in situations where I've been the boss, which as a parent, you're the boss. And I've had employees not bring me problems that I could have helped. And they were worried I was going to be mad at them or think they're a fuck up or whatever. And I'm like, fuck that. We'll get, even if I think that, we'll get past it. But bring me the problem. There's a fucking hole in the dam and the water's leaking, man. Yeah. Like, you got to tell me what's going on. And if I was a parent and I had a kid and the kid was an adult and the kid had been doing something, or they like weed, or they're gay, or they're like, it's not something you like, that's who you are. But I mean, like, whether it's something that they are or something that they like going to fucking orgies and swinger parties, or they like, whatever weird thing that I don't get, or that I was
hoping you're going to keep listing things.
I was going to, and I decided it was time to stop with orgies and swinger parties. Whatever it is they want to do, I'm an open-minded person. So it's hard for me to relate to someone who is very conservative culturally. Because maybe if I was really conservative, I'd be like, I don't want to know that shit, kid. Whatever you're doing out there, just do it and keep it off my radar. And I'd rather think of you as in the box that I want to put you in, and we'll do that. But I'm like, I'm not that way. So my attitude is like, just fucking tell me, man. And it would break my heart if I didn't know. So I'd be like, I fucked up. Now as a parent, I feel like I failed you, the kid, because I made you feel like you couldn't bring me the shit.
Yeah, I know. And it's hard because I mean, again, like exactly. I think if someday I am a parent and I find out that let's say like my 13-year-old is going to college parties. Like that is not okay.
That's a problem.
That's a problem. That's not a like, oh, you're a kid. No, that is not safe. That's not okay.
Right.
But how do you keep an open, let's say that's the situation. And I hope this never happens. I hope this never happens. But if it did, and let's say I'm like have encouraged this open relationship, my child is 13 and they get home or they call me and they're like, I'm at a college party with 18-year-olds and they're all drunk and I don't feel safe. Come get me. Okay. Obviously, we go get them. We bring them home. What do you do when you know something that's not okay and you need to make sure that doesn't happen again because it is not safe? It could be literally life-threatening.
Yeah.
But you don't want to close down the channel of communication because the reason we don't tell people things is we don't want to get in trouble. We don't want to, like, what do you do?
Your word choice in that whole thing, there are two words that just jump out to me that I'm like, that's part of the problem with how I think you're thinking about it. And neither of us are parents, so this is amateur hour. But I'm saying, like, you said, how do I make sure it doesn't happen again? Kira, you fucking don't.
I know, but I want to.
Yeah, but the sentence still has value, but the words you started it with make it broken. The value that you have is you don't want your kid to keep getting in this situation. That's good. You want to prevent it. That's good. But are you going to accomplish the goal of making sure it never happens again? Fucking no. So you're already going to lose. So the question is not how do we make sure it doesn't happen again? The question is, how do we create support and communication so that if and when the opportunity for it to happen again comes up, we cross that bridge a different way or we go a different route? Maybe your best case scenario is, we'll go worst case and say she is going to these parties and she's going to go, Kira. She's going to fucking go. And if you tell her not to, she's going to go anyway. And if you bolt her door shut, she's going to glass cut a fucking circle like it's, she's stealing something in a Disney movie. She better be
smart and resourceful.
It's going to be something like that. So maybe your best thing is to say like, I really don't want you there. I don't feel comfortable, and make it abundantly clear, blah, blah, blah. But if you end up there, please know that you will not. It's not the going to the party after I already asked you to alone that makes me angry. It's the lie. Because in order for you to get to the party, you have to not tell me you're going. And omission is lying to me because I'm your parent. You have to fucking tell me shit. So there's that whole conversation. But you as a parent have to accept that if you have a 13-year-old girl who wants to hang out with 18-year-olds at a college party and has the, I don't know what you would even call the quality, but has the social comfort to get to that party. I wanted to go to college parties when I was 13 too. I didn't get fucking invited. It wasn't an option. And if I had, I would have been like, how do I get there? I don't have a car. Right. So in this scenario that you've laid out, you've got a 13-year-old daughter who is getting to the college party. She's got the friends who are inviting her and the either, boys or girls who are trying to sleep with her, driving her there, whatever the fuck is going on.
Neither. But yeah.
Sure. But someone's trying to sleep with her because that's why she's at the party.
Yeah.
Have you ever been 18 at a party and been like, there's not enough 13-year-olds here? No, that's not fun for us.
I'm going to change the scenario. I hate this.
But what I'm saying to you is you have to wrap your brain around the bigger thing, which is you have this girl who wants to go to this party who went to the party. And the question is why? Yeah. Doesn't she want to hang out with 13-year-olds? And are you going to prevent her from wanting to hang out with 18-year-olds? Probably. I don't know how you're going to reverse that, but maybe there's a safer place where she can hang out with older people and maybe use some swear words she's not supposed to use or whatever the thing she wants to do.
Rob, are you suggesting the theater?
Yeah. That's why I didn't go to any parties. Because I was still at cast parties when I was 15 with 35-year-olds who were all getting drunk. And I'm like, this isn't inappropriate. I was in the company.
Oh, wow. You just kind of really blew my mind a little bit there, to be honest with you.
If you've got a little boy and he's just trying to see girls in their underwear, put him backstage at a Shakespeare play. They're going to change real quick. Be polite. Keep your head down.
That's right.
Change your own suspenders or whatever. But, you know, sneak a glance. 13, you sneak a glance. Is that a crime? She's 35. She's a grown woman. Don't worry about it. She can take care of herself.
Oh, well, now I'm never changing backstage with the next 13-year-old.
They're looking.
Imagine
100%.
how formative that would be.
You mean remember?
Well, no, I'm just thinking like, okay, now we're really off the rails. But like, do you think you're someone's first like sexual image?
Yeah.
You really? Who?
Yeah.
Do you know?
No, because when I was doing theater when I was a teenager, we did a lot. I did a lot of fucking plays and community theater and stuff like that. I wasn't doing like the one musical a year at school. I was in a play all the time from like eighth grade to like senior year, either on stage or backstage, constantly. And so a lot of times, especially when I was later in my teenage years, I would get cast in a play that was mostly kids. And I would get, you know, I'm like 16, 17, 18. And there were
hot.
Not really. I was kind of overweight, but I was funny. So that's enough.
Hot. Same.
Very sweet. You're very sweet.
Hot's hot.
That's
right. As you said, you're either hot or you're not.
You can't do anything about it. So
hot's hot.
This is, I don't know how weird this is to talk about, but it's fucking true. And I think especially people who went to fucking theater school probably had similar experiences. I was fucking 16, 17, 18 in like Guys and Dolls or Charlie's Aunt or whatever the fuck. And there was always like a 12, 13-year-old girl or 2 or 3 who were in the show. And let's say you had 3 girls who were like 12, 13 and you're like 16. There would always be one of those 3 girls who was just not in sexual maturity at all. They just weren't there. Yep. They're having fun. They're still in like kid mode. There's one girl who's like really already way ahead of the sexual maturity curve. And she looks like she's 17. And all the guys in the cast are like, wow, she does not look fucking 13. Everybody stay away from her.
Yep.
Then you have that middle chick who's quiet and in the process of going through. And I think this is the same for boys.
Detailed explanation.
This happened to me over and over again.
I'm with you.
I never connected with the super hot chick that was like, everybody was all like, oh my God, get away from the jailbait. That's right. I'm 16 in the story.
Right. Oh, right.
It's fine.
So
I never had that connection and like never got into that. And I think a lot of that was also because I get kind of weirdly turned off in social situations where everybody's attracted to the same person and everyone's kind of like after them.
Like they
it
already
makes
know.
me not want them.
I'm not going to add fuel to that ego fire.
Yeah, I don't want to be the 5th guy like, hey, would you get? I'm like not doing that.
Boring.
Yeah, I'm out. So I would inevitably like become like friends with the other girl that was more quiet. And yeah, there were lots of like budding romances around that time when I was like a teenager where it was like
showmance.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, you have like little crushes on each other and you know, you like sneak a kiss or something backstage and it's like, I'm doing the math. How many guys has she been into before this? Probably not a lot.
Yeah.
So like, but since then, oh, and you know what? When I was a teacher.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Because it was the rest of the school teachers were all like 65-year-old women. And it was like me and the gym coach. And so, yeah, there were definitely like teenage girls who I was you look at your paper. You need to stop looking at me. It's like all day.
I just remember that the psych teacher at UNCSA was really hot.
Yeah, I was going to put you in the position as the object of affection. And you were like, no, I remember when I was that schoolgirl also checking out that
cute
guy.
Teachers.
I think I remember that dude.
He was awesome.
Yeah.
And very good looking.
Yeah.
Um,
Have you been
except he
that
gave
for
me
a bunch
bad
of
grade on a
teenage
project.
boys?
Well, here's the thing.
Definitely is my guess.
I mean, I guess I kind of weirdly hope not, and also like hope so, because I feel like
so.
What is your appearance if not to be lusted after by teenage boys? I don't know what it's for.
I feel the same way.
Gross, but also like I feel like it's true, at least the way we're marketed about it. But
Yeah.
I feel like honestly, this sounds weird, and I don't hop on the train of like no. But I realized I think I've now, and I don't know for sure because I know it's not true like culturally, but I feel like I may have aged out of it a little. At
Out
least
of what?
like being hot to teenage boys. Like I just was. I can't remember, something came up. I don't know when this was. I don't know. I mean, I also like I've taught, but I just feel like, I mean, when someone's like looking, you can tell, and if they're like young and stupid and immature, you can tell.
You feel like the attention has dropped?
Yeah. Well, not that it was ever there from like teenagers. I'm just saying
was.
like, well, I mean, when I was a teenager, sure. I hope. I don't know. But like, I don't know. I just feel like, Rob, There's the burning question. Teenage boys out there, do you think I'm hot still?
Drop it in the comments below. We have a lot of teenage boy viewers and listeners. Yeah,
Prime
100%.
demographic.
If you listened to this whole episode and got this far and didn't see it, what a waste. What a waste, everybody.
You'll never know.
She's not as teenage hot as she was a few years ago, according to her, but she's got it going. It's working.
Look, 26, prime teenage hot.
Do you think so?
No, I don't know.
Who do you remember when you were a teenager being like the most attractive adult man in your life? How old were they?
Oh, wow. Interesting. When I was a teenager?
Yeah, I'm like just thinking about, because I'm trying to answer the same question for myself.
Right.
Men and women. Like when I was in high school, was there like a teacher or a counselor or like somebody that I was like, damn, I hope they look like that when I grow up.
I remember I was never like into older guys at all. Like a lot of my friends were like, ooh, college boys, out of college, whatever. Like I wasn't really into that. So my senior year of college, I dated one guy. When I was 21, I dated a guy who was 28 or 29 for a little bit. Other than that, I've been like younger or my age. I don't know why. But I remember senior year of high school, a new teacher came and he was from Canada and he was so nice and also very handsome.
Nice.
He looked like Clark Kent.
Ooh, shit.
And he was really nice. He was a good person. I wonder what he's doing. I remember once, again, Christian school, one of my friends was like doing something. Well, we were like, I don't know, bad. We were bad by that time. It was like the end of senior year. We were like in advanced math, which is the only math you could take if you weren't in an AP math. Okay. And my friend was like fighting. She didn't care at this point. She was like over it. And I just remember her like talking to our other friend, be like, fuck. And our poor dear teacher was like, his heart broke that day. He was like, oh, these students suck. They suck.
I had a fourth grader say fuck in my class once and I totally let it go.
You kind of have to.
It was amazing. Like, and she was
she right?
Yes.
Was like worth it? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. She was totally right. We were talking about how like this, I think like the black rhinoceros or something had gone extinct. And it was like the last one had died. And I said it in class, kind of at the top of class. And it's like, I got like 9 fourth graders in my class. And I'm like, it's not even like what the lesson for the day. I can't remember how it came up, but I was like, actually it's extinct. And they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, you know what extinct means? And they were like, there's no more of them. And I was like, right. And I was like, and they're all kind of confused for a second. And this little girl, Morgan, goes, wait, so you're saying there are no more rhinos or whatever kind it was. It was like, there are no more rhinos in the world? And I was like, right. And she was like, because someone killed him. And I was like, right. And she goes, fuck. And I was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
And then just like moved on. I was like,
Yep.
you're not wrong. That is that is exactly the right use of that word. And I would be a bad teacher to tell you didn't use it properly.
You used it right.
Yep.
That's
what that word means. That feeling that you had, you have to earn it. But you should only use words like that when you feel like that.
Oh my gosh. Oh, sweet
amazing.
thing.
I'll never forget
kids.
that. It's one of my favorite teaching moments.
I worked in a third grade classroom in 2020 to 2021, and it was absolutely incredible. Those kids are like the best. They're my favorite people.
I love that. I love late elementary school, early middle school. That's my favorite.
Oh, like early middle. Oof.
5th, 6th, 7th. Those are my favorite grades.
Bless you.
Yeah,
that is.
I love them.
I don't want to go near middle school. I'm like, ooh.
Well, especially now, you're not as hot as you used to be.
I know. I don't have any power over them anymore.
They're not gonna listen.
I used to be able to bewitch them with a glance. And now, that's actually not true. When I substitute taught, they didn't give a shit. They didn't care. They didn't care. I'd be like, okay, class. And they're like, whatever. Like, it's fair.
It's a double-edged sword because when you're an adult and you have like children who are giving you attention because they have like this weird inappropriate crush on you, it's obviously sucks because it feels really fucking uncomfortable. And you're like also especially as a guy trying to make sure that no one takes it the wrong way and you're following the rules and making it
really
clear.
Careful.
Yeah, you got to be super careful. But at the same time, it's better than the ones who don't behave themselves. Like if I had to choose, between like,
careful now.
If I had to choose, I'd be like, I wish you all just made me feel uncomfortable because the rest of you make me want to quit. It's fucking, because you know what? These girls who are like, yes, okay. And they're just like not listening to me because they're just like looking at the fact that I can grow facial hair. They're like, not well, but better than the guy next to him. I'll take it because they're listening, kind of, and they're not talking while I'm fucking trying to do stuff.
Yeah, they're not breaking things, hopefully, or
exactly right, or like playing with a plastic water bottle under their hands. So I'm like, give me the fucking water bottle. I'm gonna lose my shit.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Or when I was there, it was like COVID times, and we were in person, so it was like, okay, 9-year-old, put your mask back on, stay 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. Every sentence out of my mouth. And administration would like walk by and I'd be like, 6 feet apart, guys.
Right.
Yeah. But it was worth it.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. I can't believe that we have talked this long because it wasn't supposed to be this long, this episode. I'm not mad about it at all. It was pretty long. But you know what I think is interesting?
What?
You didn't want to do the show last time because you were like, I want to wait until I'm acting. And we haven't talked about your acting career at all, like once.
Good.
I think we mentioned self-tapes for like 20 seconds.
Oh, yeah, I did.
So was it worth it?
Like a moment.
Waiting until you were acting to do the show?
So worth it. Catch my show on HBO where I have so many sex scenes. I'm going to get excommunicated. Kidding.
Right?
But please try to Google it now and spend a lot of time looking for something that doesn't exist.
Why would you blow
I mean, that does. Just get rid of that.
Yeah, we'll cut that out.
You can do that, right?
So at least
I know
they
you have
can
a lot of
spend
extra
their time
to
looking
just
it up.
Okay.
No, here, we'll put this part in it. So wait, when you said that your dad would be upset if you did like an explicit sex scene on HBO, like so you're saying that he doesn't know about the 2 guest spots that you did.
That's right. I mean, what was I going to do?
I shouldn't say the name of the show then.
No. Maybe just don't. Yeah.
And you didn't even, I don't even think did you use Geiger or you had a different last name?
Mm-hmm.
So if people were to search for it, they would.
I mean, you can find it if you try really hard.
But it's not easy.
It's not easy. I actually had someone say they did actually find it, but it took like 3 hours. No, well, maybe it's like only like 45 minutes, actually. I think I'm wrong about that. So I don't know. Might be worth it if you want to check it out, but obviously only if you have time.
Right.
But, yeah.
You're one of my favorite people. If I tell you that,
I feel so mischievous.
I'm gonna fucking put it in there the right way so that it
know
works.
you. Yes, I know you are. No, Rob, I'm so glad. I am glad to be here, and I'm glad that I didn't wait to be here until I was like trying to do press in like a weird way for myself.
This is a terrible show for press because it does no one fucking watches it. You will gain. I don't know if you saw the tickets at Bent, but we didn't exactly sling an extra fucking 500 seats without the elephants.
I mean, I don't know. We sold out, you know that. So just saying, you had something to do with that. So I know. It's all you, Rob. Hey, Ralphie, Kitty, you want to come say hi? No, he doesn't care. He's staring at me. Rob, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being had.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too.
Yeah.